Yeah, this will be interesting. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen here. We're just going to ramble a little bit here this morning. Oh, I don't even know what's working or what's not working. I've done a stream using StreamYard in quite a while. But I had a lot of little things in my mind, not all necessarily radio. So I'm just going to kind of, since I didn't announce this, see if anybody shows up. I'm always going to pause here. Ooh, I left my drink downstairs. My iced tea is downstairs getting hot. That's not good. Anyway, I don't know if anybody will show up. Don't really expect too many to show up, but you never know. It's kind of killing some time here. I've done these shows in the past, not very many of them, where I talk about this and that, just about anything that comes to mind, anything that people are interested in. I have a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about and probably or maybe get some feedback. I mean, this is one of them, having to use earphones. That's a nuisance. Um, now we got one person show up. Again, I didn't announce this ahead of time. I just was fooling around this morning, kind of frustrated. So I thought, what the heck? I'm going to go live and see if anybody shows up. So if you would, the two listeners I have at the moment, give me an indication of video quality and audio quality. I'd appreciate that. I have no idea where any of this is working, and these darn heavy headphones are driving me nuts, but I have to use them right now. I'm going to just quickly get into that discussion, and I'll get back to it later if more people show up. But one of the problems I've been fighting for maybe 3 months is audio with Windows 10 updates. And before, I would say back in January, I could use this microphone, which is off camera right now. It's right there. I could use it and have my speakers on and everything would work okay. And about January timeframe, I got a Windows update, and all of a sudden now, okay, thanks, Ralph. Now, if certain programs like StreamYard, which is what I'm using right now, I get a feedback from the microphone into the speakers and then a back forth. If I get the microphone too close to the speakers, it'll start squealing. So and usually if I keep the microphone away from the speakers, which is about 3 feet, I don't have that problem. But I do get a little distortion in my audio. So this morning it was really bad using StreamYard. So I put headphones on so that there's no feedback. So that's all that problem. But these headphones pretty darn heavy. I tried to use some earbuds I had close by. They didn't even work, so I've got to remember to throw those in the trash. Okay, so that's the first thing that's annoying me. And then about maybe 2 weeks ago, another Windows update. Didn't notice any changes or improvements. I still had this feedback problem. Went to play some video games and no sound, no sound at all. And so I tried 3 or 4 and some had sound, some didn't. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So I talked to my computer whiz guy, and he says, yeah, it's probably because of Windows Update and your um, drivers, third party, non Windows drivers, are probably out of sync with Windows now, and therefore it's not working. So you have to do driver updates for your particular motherboard. Well, a little hesitant to do that because half of my games, I tried them all. Half of my games worked, half of them didn't. And the ones that did work were the ones I play the most. So I'm like, if I do this driver update, I might lose sound altogether. So I'm not going to do it. And that particular problem is on a different computer, which has the newest release of Windows. This computer I'm on now, I don't know if it has the newest release. Oh, I think it's different versions. I think this computer I'm now has Windows Home, and the computer that I play games on has Windows Pro. That's another difference. So I'm really struggling with Windows 10 updates and audio. Hey, 741. What I'm doing, I got frustrated this morning. I run into several problems this week. So I just thought I'd get on the air and see if I could get some help from people out there. Didn't schedule this at all. I just mucked around with it, got it working. I said, okay, let's go on here. So that's what I'm doing. And the first topic I was talking about is my problems I'm struggling with on Windows 10 updates. And on this computer, I have a problem with feedback. And I use this microphone right here, which keeps falling off the clip, which is what I'm using right now. It feeds back into my speakers. And that started about 3 months ago with a Windows update. And so sometimes I can get around it by keeping the microphone away from the speakers. This morning, I actually had to use headphones, non-speakers, to keep the feedback from continuing. So that's the first thing that I've been talking about. Okay, I got about 5 subjects here I just want to kind of go over. Most are non-radio subjects. Some are radio subjects. So that's the Windows 10 audio problems I'm having. And I noticed a couple of YouTube channels that talk about computers and stuff like that. They talk about Windows 10 audio problems. Apparently, there's an incompatibility with specific drivers for your motherboard audio and Windows generic drivers. So, and I got, like I said, I got 2 different problems based on which computer I use and which um, version of Windows 10 Home versus Windows 10 Pro. Yeah, 741. I hate headphones too. That's why one of the reasons I'm wearing a hat, because it hurts my head, and I really don't like. And they're hot. It's just a pain. Okay, next thing, and this is kind of my problem list, I'll say. The next thing, and these are not in any particular order, Broadcastify. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's Broadcastify that I use to listen to scanner radios. And one of the reasons I use this so much is because the scanner radios in my area, not the scanner radios, the uh, stations down here, police, fire, and EMS, all in Pinellas County, have gone digital, and I don't have a digital scanner. So I listen to them on Broadcastify. Well, something really weird is going on because Normally, like here's Pinellas County Fire and EMS. Normally, the number of listers is like 10 or less. For the past week, it started about a week ago, the number of listers have quadrupled. And sometimes, and I got a alert that you can set up. I got an alert to send me a message when it gets above 20, I think, because it never gets above 20. Well, I've been getting those alerts every day because it's been up here in the 40s and 50s. I don't really think that all of a sudden the number of listeners increased. Now, I looked at this back when the virus hoopla was going on real hot and heavy, thinking that there would be a lot of traffic, especially with EMS. And it was still down around 10 and less. And this past week, it jumped up. I don't think this is real. I really don't think this is real. And I don't know if they're escalating the numbers just to get more interest. Probably not, but why has these numbers jumped up? Are they real? I don't know. What about your area? Have you noticed that in your area? Very strange. Anyway, going back, let me see where we're at here. Okay, we got 6 people that happened to stop by. I appreciate that. Oh, I forgot to share my screen. Oh, thanks. Thanks, 741. Boy, I'm really rusty with this. So anyway, I'll go back over that. I'll share my screen. Oh, I got a message. Chrome has a bug that can cause the screen sharing to crash on Windows 10. Another Windows 10 problem. I'm going to try it anyway. So we may go down. Here we go. Okay, so where I was at, this is what I was trying to show you. This is Broadcastify, which comes from, in my case, it comes from Radio Reference, where you can listen to scanners on the air. And I use this, as I mentioned before, because Pinellas County Fire and EMS, where I live, has gone digital. I don't have a digital scanner. Now, I'm just going to show you quickly because I've already babbled about this. Here are the numbers I was talking about. These numbers, to me, are way too high. This should be like 12 or less, and this should be like 8 or 9. Why they've jumped up in the past week to almost 4 times, I don't understand. That's it. Okay, let's get off of stop sharing, and I'll go and see if that was okay. 741, did my screen show up that time, or do I have another problem? I don't know. Okay, that's broadcast. And feel free to jump in the chat, and we can talk about anything, talk about these subjects that I'm having a problem with or anything else. Okay. Now, this is another little annoyance that I've run into, has nothing to do with the radios, 0 to do with radios. It's a hobby I started about 4 months ago. And what it is, my local library has a bunch of studios that you can rent time on their equipment. And they have like an audio studio that you can convert LP 78 records to digital, cassettes to digital. They have a station where you can convert slides, the old 35 millimeter slides, to digital, and so on. And then they have another studio, which is for crafts. And in that craft studio, they have a very nice laser etcher. So you can, it's kind of like a modern day wood burning tool, although it will burn plastic This particular one will not burn metal. Some will. And I really got interested in that. And I went to their couple of sessions, sat down with the lady that runs it, showed me how to use the software. You can generate your own images and text at home, bring it in, and load it into their software and do an etching. If you watch some of my most recent shows, I have made a little plaque, Tom's Radio Room. That's how it was made. And so I was in seventh heaven because here was this, I would say, probably $3,000 or $4,000 laser etcher. So it etches on material using a laser beam, and it's software controlled. So I was pretty happy. And my neighbor, who's a handyman, I talked to him about it, and he made me a whole bunch of material out of scraps of wood and wood flooring and stuff like that to use as my basis. Hey, Joseph, glad you stopped by. I'm just rambling. Um, so he made me, I got a whole box of little pieces of wood that I could etch things on. So I started doing that. And then the virus came along and they shut the library down. So I thought, okay, yeah, that happens. Well, this past week, they opened the library back and they opened the studio that has the recording stuff and the movie transfer stuff. All that's open. But guess what? The laser etcher studio is not open. Now, I don't know if they laid off the lady that ran that or what. I haven't called them yet, but I am really depressed about that. So this morning, okay, now here's my point. I use my hands a lot. Now here's my point. I'm thinking now of buying myself a laser etcher. And well, like I say, the one that they have at the library is a big one. It's probably 4 foot square, and I think it's 30 watts of power. So it can etch and it can cut wood. I've cut wood with it. So I don't need anything that fancy. So I'm looking on Amazon this morning of a little one. And there are dozens and dozens of these things, and they range from $100 to $400. And I just don't know, you know, which one to get, which is a good one and which is garbage. I did notice a lot of them have free returns. So I'm saying, well, worst comes to worst, and doesn't work, I just return it. So that's something that I'm trying to get back into and try to decide whether I want to get my own personal laser etcher, a small one again, something like that'll handle like a 4 by 6 inch piece of wood. So any thoughts there, I'd appreciate it. The next topic is best time to listen to shortwave radio. And of course, right now, propagation is pretty poor. So we're all struggling to hear shortwave. And my question is, what is your experience with listening to shortwave right now? Evenings better, afternoons better, morning better? What have you noticed? For me, early morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning, is good for listening to Asia in that area over there. Late, real late afternoon, almost sundown, is a good time for me to listen to Europe and Africa. So That's been my experience. Okay, 741 says, we have been using laser cutters, yeah, for many years. I didn't know little ones were available. Yes, 741, they've been around for quite a while. I say quite a while, a couple of years. Um, and there are two things that have come out of manufacturing industry to individuals, and that's the 3D printers and the laser etchers. And I should say laser etchers cutters because they can cut like soft wood. And they start at 500 milliwatt laser, which is pretty weak. You have to use like balsa wood, and all you can do is etch it. They go up to 1 watt, 3 watts, 5 watts, 7 watts, and then 15 and 30. These are for home use. The 30, of course, is what the library has, and it's a big unit. It's 4 foot by 4 foot. It's a big unit. Take a lot of room to have that in your shop or my shop. So I'm looking at the ones that will give me a etching area of 4 by 6 inches. That's as big as I need. I'd like it to be 12 by 15, but then the whole unit becomes too big. And there are different types. There's the type that is a total contained unit with a cover, shield, and everything. And the other type is just like a four rails, so that the laser does an XY movement, and so there's no protection from the laser beam. So you got to wear glasses to protect your eyes. Plus, there's no ventilation. Some of these other ones actually have a built-in fan that goes to an exhaust port that you can vent the exhaust out of your house. I don't think the wood burning exhaust will be a problem, but if you're going to burn like or etch plastic and stuff like that, that could be toxic. So, and they become very affordable. Now, the little tiny ones, which you can only put a piece of material like maybe 2 inches square, really tiny. Um, they're just over $100, and they're about maximum of 1 watt laser. Pretty weak. The kind of middle of the road is 2 or 3 watts and a 6 by 6 cutting area. And then the next step, and that's about $250 to $300. The next step up is a 5 watt or 7 watt with about the same size cutting area and what else? Oh, and they're enclosed. And some of them have a port for sucking out the smoke, and some don't. The those in that price range, $400 to $500, the ventilation system, the exhaust system, that's another thing you have to buy. That's another 50, $100. So to get a nice one for home use, it's going to cost you about $500. I'm looking about $250 to $300 level. But there's so many out there. It's like, how do you tell a good one from a bad one? Anyway, so that's what I was talking about. We got, is it Bellis? I hope I pronounced that right. And I guess he's in Japan. Okay. Okay, thanks for stopping by, 741. I know you're busy. So anyway, that's kind of what we've been frustrated with shall we say, in the past couple of weeks, the audio problems with Windows 10. Two problems that I have is with this computer, which I use for YouTube, I have a feedback. It didn't have it before, but a Windows update came along, and now for some programs like this one, I have a feedback in that if I have the speakers turned on, plugged in, and I try to broadcast via this microphone. If I get the microphone too close to the speakers, I get that feedback and then it starts squealing. Some programs I can get away with that by just keeping the microphone away from the speakers. This particular program, StreamYard, I couldn't do that, so I'm wearing these heavy headphones, and they're quite hot. Anyway, so that's what I was talking about there. Laser etcher. I'm looking to get a laser etcher. I'm looking for any inputs. Best time to listen to shortwave radio. Um, I talked about that. Last thing I have on my list is the SDR Uno software. Now, I did a video a couple of shows ago. SDR Play devices. They're SDR radios. They're in a little box. They're pretty much top-notch radios. They start at about $100 and go to $300, depends on which one you get and what features. Right now, with this setup, I have the SDR DX hooked up. And about a week ago, matter of fact, last weekend and this week, they did a 6-hour webinar about what's going on and the release of the new software, their software called SDR Uno. It went from version 1.33 to 1.4. And they noted, and I'm not complaining here, they noted that be cautious, they're releasing a beta version for users to use. But keep in mind, that beta version may break things that worked in 1.33. Well, I typically stay away from beta versions in some cases, but I am so interested in the enhancements they're doing for SDR Uno. I did the upgrade. So it went through an upgrade, and it changes the API system that can interface with other software, such as SDR console. Well, wouldn't you know it, SDR console doesn't work now because I updated that API. Again, I'm not complaining. I should have known that. I posted something on the SDR console. That's another piece of software. Users group about this to see if anybody had a fix or anything, and I stirred up a hornet's nest. I didn't mean to do that, but I stirred up a hornet's nest. So I'm looking and hoping that Simon, who writes that software, will incorporate this new API in his software so that his SDR console software will once again work with the SDR Play units. I like it. I like both softwares. It took me a while, with the help of 741, to get SDR Uno working properly. It's really complicated. I had been using SDR console for many years now with other SDRs, and I like it. But the two of them, they have different features. Like the scan feature in SDR Uno, I really like. But when I set up SDR console, for some reason, and again, there are so many options and changes, but the default setup, it receives much better than SDR Uno with on the same SDR. So I go back and forth. Well, I've kind of messed myself up that now SDR console doesn't work. I could go back to SDR Uno 1.3 and try to get the old drivers back. That would hopefully get SDR console working again. But I really don't want to go backwards. I have the old version. Thank you. Alexa's telling me what I got to do next. From your calendar, aquarium maintenance starts in 10 minutes. Okay. Where was I? Alexa, you were bothering me. I got on another computer. I've got the old version of SDR Uno and the most recent version of SDR console. So I could use that computer to go back so I can still use SDR console. Not a biggie. I'm just hoping that Simon will upgrade his, and Simon is super about doing upgrades. So I'm hoping he will upgrade his software to use the new API from the SDR Play people. That would be fantastic. All righty, I think I've run out of things to babble about. We can, I can quickly go back over them again, but I don't want to bore you. I thank the 10 or 12 people that showed up for my stream. Again, I didn't plan this. I just was frustrated this morning, and I thought, well, I'll go on my YouTube channel and vent and get some feedback from people who may have solved some of these problems. Okay, I'm just going to briefly go over my problem, just very briefly, and then I'm going to call it quits. I don't see any more new comments in the chat. So here we go. Broadcastify. I'll show you. I'll see if I can share my screen again without crashing. Okay, here's Broadcastify, which I use to listen to radios throughout the United States. For my area, Pinellas County, the number of listeners for each of these scanners has quadrupled in the past week. I don't understand why. This says for Pinellas County Fire and EMS, that particular radio has 43 listeners. Normally it's like 10 or 12. I don't understand it. Okay, that was the first topic. So let me just see something else while I'm here. Okay, you can see this is the Pinellas County website that shows you the activity. It says there's one medical, there's electrical hazard, and another medical. There's no activity, and it's been that way all week, not that busy. So why are there that many people, 43 people listening, especially this early? I mean, I get a notification if the number goes above 20. Well, I can get notifications right and left. I got a notification when I get up this morning at 4 o'clock. I know there weren't 43, and it was 52 people. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, okay, let's stop sharing and go back to here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, that was the first topic. Windows 10 audio problems. I could discuss that too many times. But basically, I have two problems. One is I get audio feedback now from my microphone into my speakers, so I'm having to wear headphones. And on my game computer, some of the games have no audio anymore after a Windows update. So, yeah, Viper, I thought that originally. And so, like a month ago, when the whole virus thing was being talked about by everybody, I said, let me go listen to the scanners and see if there's a lot more activity with the fire and EMS people, going to rescue people and take them to the hospital. No. And there wasn't that much more activity. Actually, there was a little more activity, maybe double as far as the number of calls to 911, but the number of listeners was still 8 or 9. But this week, when the number of calls is down in the toilet as far as 911, we got it's saying we got 43 listeners. I don't understand. Anyway, okay. Laser etcher. I'm interested in getting a laser etcher. And the reason being is that I had access to a laser etcher at the library. The library closed, of course, but they opened up this week. But everything is open except the laser etcher. And I'm thinking there was only one person that helped you with that. Maybe she didn't come back to work. So maybe that's why it's shut down. So now I'm looking at getting my own for around between $250 and $300, but I don't know which one to get. So I'm just looking for inputs there. Best time to listen to shortwave radio. We talked about that. And the last topic was SDR Uno update to 1.4 and a new API has broken SDR console software. Hopefully Simon, who writes that, will fix that. Alrighty, that's it. I've run out of things to babble about. I took me about 20 minutes to figure out how to do this morning. So now that I got it working again, maybe I'll do some more shows. Maybe even later today I'll do a show, but I'll announce it ahead of time. Hey, 74 ARB, good morning. Oh, we got ME Lab. Thanks for stopping by. Well, okay, we've got some suggestion here. He says buy a K40. All righty. Thanks for that. I actually should have went on your channel because I know you're heavy into these and 3D printers. And so yours now, the next question is, where's the best place to get a K40? I'm familiar with that model, but where's the best place to get it and what's a good price? Okay, so that's that. I appreciate you stopping by again. I just was frustrated this morning. I thought, well, I'll get on the air and see if I can get some sympathy and some suggestions about some of these problems that I'm running into. The Windows thing is not unique to me. The Windows audio problem, apparently Windows 10 has caused audio problems, and it appears to be with third-party software. eBay out of Texas. eBay out of Texas, but drop ships from other states. Okay, all right. So the Windows 10 audio problem is some programs have no problems. Other programs just they break. Like my game computer, different computer. Half of the game I play. Well, I have probably 25 games that I've gotten off Steam. About a week ago, one of the newer updates of a game had no audio. So then I went back and looked at some of my other games that haven't been updated for a while, but Windows 10 has been updated, and half of my games have no audio. None. Zero. So my computer friend said, you need to go update the audio drivers for your memory board. So I'm a little hesitant to do that because half the games work, half don't. I'm afraid if I do that, then none of the games will work. So that's I'm on the fence with that. Okay, Viper is telling me about OBS and GeForce. I haven't had any problems with OBS. And I use OBS on this computer, which has the audio feedback through the speakers. That's why I'm wearing these heavy, hot headphones this morning, because StreamYard is really bad. I tried initially, before I went on the air, to record a test, and I got so much feedback. And the microphone is here, the speakers are over here. They're about 24 to 30 inches apart, which for other programs like OBS, that's not a problem. But with OBS, if I move this microphone closer to the speaker, it'll start squealing because of the feedback. Huh. So, okay. So you're using OBS to stream games. I think that's what you're saying, Viper. Alrighty, we're going to wrap this up. Again, it was unscheduled. I appreciate the people that did stop by. Hopefully, some of the people that watch this later will put in some comments and suggestions to help me with my, I would say five. Well, I've got four problems, and I've got something I want to get input on, which is the laser etchers. And then um, the other topic I talked about was the best time to listen to shortwave. That's it. Yeah, Tree Haga, I agree. I hope the DX does improve. The solar flux index went up 1 point yesterday, so it was a 71. And unfortunately, we got some storms coming in the afternoon for the next 3 days, so I'll have to disconnect all my antennas. Alrighty, if there's nothing else, I'm going. Wow, I talked for 40. I babbled for 42 minutes. Oh, thank you guys for stopping by, and have a great day. Bye bye. Yeah, Warshands is right. VE5UO. I agree. Alrighty. Again, I think I will try to do a show later today, and I'll announce it like at least 2 hours in advance. If I do it today, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know. Okay, I'm done. Bye bye.